join, thank you for joining us today. As you probably know from signing up, basically we're here today speaking with two founders. We have Leigh Isaacson from Dig, the dog person's dating app, and Fares Ksebati from MySwimPro. Leigh's raising capital right now on Netcapital, and Fares is raising capital on Wefunder. And so kind of the whole point of this exercise and having this is to enable you to engage with the founders. We hear so often from all of our investors and users and customers, they're saying, why can't I connect with the founder more? I love the founder profiles that you have, but I actually want to hear from them directly. And so hopefully this kind of gives you a better way to connect with the founders, ask questions, hear from them, see how they react under pressure. I know a lot of people wonder what that looks like. And so we want to give that opportunity to you guys. No pressure. But so before we jump in, I just want to give a little background on why we got really excited about these companies. So the app market in 2017, 175 billion apps were downloaded across the globe. And that's growing at a 20% CAGR and is expected to amass over $300 billion in revenue by 2023. So needless to say, fast growing market, more of our lives and the tasks that we have in our daily lives are moving to some form of an app. Because everything is on our mobile phones. And so that presents a really exciting and attractive opportunity. And so the two that we're looking at today, one is in the dating space and one is in the fitness app space. So on the dating pet tech side of things, we have Dig, the dog person's dating app. So online dating is expected to be a $3 billion market by 2020, and nearly $600 million last year was invested into pet tech in companies like Rover and Wag, et cetera. Basically, people like to spend a lot of money on their pets, and more than ever, people are actually finding their significant other online. If you get the intersection of those two, you have Dig, the dog person's dating app, which I think is really exciting. And then on the fitness app side, fitness apps are expected to grow at a 23% CAGR to surpass nearly $2 billion in global revenue by 2023. So again, another really big market and fast-growing market opportunity. So both of these companies are going to benefit from that, and we happen to think that they execute really well in what they do. So with that, we're going to hop in and let Leigh tell her 2-minute pitch on Dig, the dog person's dating app.
Thanks so much, Chris.
Sure.
I'm Leigh Isaacson. I'm CEO and co-founder of Dig. A few years ago, my sister was dating a guy who tried to be a dog person for her. But by the end of the relationship, he didn't want the dog in his apartment. He would put towels down on the couch so the dog didn't touch anything. And she turned to me and said, I wish I just knew from the start that this wasn't going to work because of my dog. Since then, we've built Dig, the dog person's dating app, and 30,000 people now join Casey looking for love on Dig. We launch city by city across the country with big dog-friendly events. These events not only get the word out very well with lots of puppies, but they bring in an incredible amount of partnerships, revenue through sponsorships and vendors, and lots of press. We've been featured on NPR, on Cheddar TV, on Forbes, and dozens, if not hundreds of outlets across the country. We are raising the rest of our seed round, that's a remaining $300,000, in order to get to 100,000 active users this year. At that point, we'll have the opportunity for revenue from subscription tiers, monthly subscription tiers, as well as data packages. Like Chris said, we're combining these incredible industries of pet technology and the booming dating app world, all while finding people love. So find someone you really dig and join us with the dog person's dating app.
Awesome. Thanks so much. That was awesome. Fares, how about you? Jump in with MySwimPro.
Awesome. Yeah, super excited to be here. My name is Fares Ksebati, co-founder and CEO of MySwimPro. And we create mobile and wearable apps that help people improve their performance and health through swimming and triathlon. And so the backstory, I'm a swimmer growing up and a coach, and I always had other swimmers asking me for training advice, for workouts. And when I was coaching, I had the same problem happen. So people would, they'd be looking for a coach, they'd be looking for a training program, and they either didn't have access to one or they couldn't afford it. And swimming is a little bit different than going to like the gym. So if you go to the gym in LA Fitness, it's actually relatively easy to hire a personal trainer. And you can't really do that for swimming. So what we do is our mobile applications deliver a personalized swim training program at a fraction of the cost of hiring a personal trainer. So we launched in 2015. We're close to 1 million downloads. we have a growing community internationally that's using the application, and we monetize through a freemium subscription. So if you pay $120 a year or $20 a month, you get a personalized training program. And we also on a number of different wearables. So whether it's the Apple Watch, Fitbit, Garmin, Wear OS, or anything like that, you can take a workout from your phone, sync it to the watch, and it'll guide you through the workout set by set. And we've gained a lot of recognition for this capability, including named by Apple as the best app of the year across all app categories in 2016. So we took that technology and we're running with it. And now we're launching a triathlon training application, which is really exciting because we're taking the same value proposition that we've done in swimming and now applying it to multi-sport. And we're really excited to be raising online because we did this in 2017. And so we're kind of doing another online equity crowdfunding campaign. So learned a lot from the first round, and we're currently active on our second open public offering.
Awesome. Really cool. So we'd love to hear from each of you, actually. And we could start with Leigh, and then we could go to Fares. What do you think, one of the biggest questions we always get, so I think both of your companies make just all too much sense. It's like, yep, we need it. Obviously, you found product market fit. People want what you're serving up. But what makes you each uniquely qualified to be the leaders of your respective businesses?
Sure. Well, this is super fun. So it's me and my sister who actually started this business. And what we like to say is I make things sound good. She makes things look good. Right. And so we were able to take these two completely different skill sets and build this incredible brand that's filled with passionate and dedicated, emotional dog lovers across the country. And we knew we could get the word out. And from the start, what was the one thing missing? We needed to find the best CTO. And so our team of the three of us had just completely different skill sets that were able to get us out in the public really, really quickly. Incredible amounts of events background. My background is a TV news reporter, so we get the press, the incredible marketing and advertising side that my sister is able to bring, and putting everything together with our extraordinarily dedicated CTO. So I hope that answers your question, but it's
absolutely
the three pieces of skill sets you need that's made it work so hard, and just crazy love for dogs.
And how about you, Fares?
Yeah, I think similarly is a passion for what you're doing. So everyone on our team has some kind of a swimming background. So, my background, I competed in university. I still compete internationally in masters competitions, and then have coached for about 10 years. But, one of my co-founders who is CTO, he swam in university as well. And, our whole team just loves what we do. So I think initially gaining traction through, referrals and just being in the market and knowing how it responds was key to getting us that initial traction. It helps that we have advisors who have competed at the Olympic Games and done Ironman World Championships. But ultimately now it's just feeding off of that passion for the sport and for helping people live healthy swimming.
Yeah, that's awesome. So in terms of the other big question we always get is like, all right, well, who's your core customer? That ultimately enables you, right, to have what sets you apart from the competition is because your core customer is coming to you for a specific reason. So Leigh, what does your core customer look like and why are they coming to Dig?
So our most common Dig user is between 25 and 35-year-olds, usually a woman with a dog.
Nice.
So excited to see that we actually have an incredible range from 18 to 65 plus. A lot of that's also divorced women and older women. But what's interesting is dating app users now spend 9 to 10 hours a week on their dating apps and 3 to 4 dating apps at a time. And so what we are to most people is that next step, where you might already have the 2 largest dating apps out there. You want something that cuts to the chase.
Sure.
Another thing that sets us apart is that we take the next step in your dating life. You can plan a dog-friendly date right from the app. And so people feel more comfortable when they see the dogs. They know they can have their dog with them on the date and get them out and off the app. So our core customers are people who are used to dating apps and likely already have a dog. I should point out, though, that half of our users don't have a dog yet. They're looking to date someone with a dog. Yeah, we're learning
Oh, that's awesome.
dog communities across the country. Places like Boston, where you're calling from, don't have a lot of dog-friendly housing. And so a lot of the younger community wants to date someone with a dog or find someone to get a dog in the future. And so we're tapping into all of these communities. It's not just dog ownership that we're able to connect with. It's people who love the idea of dogs and connecting with the dog lifestyle.
That's really cool. Interestingly enough, my wife and I, we picked our place because it's the one building in Brookline that allows for dogs. Yeah. And so I should probably just present you that building because I could imagine that's your core market right there. Every person there has a dog. No, that's really cool. And how about you, Fares? Who's your core customer?
Yeah, so a lot of people think that we're for like professional swimmers or people who compete at that kind of a level. And we're not, because those people already have a coach. So think of all the people that swim at your LA Fitness or local pool that are there doing it on their own without a coach. And so these are adults between the ages of roughly 25 and 45. That's kind of the sweet spot. And their swimming background is all over the place. So they either grew up swimming on like a summer recreation team until age 12 or something, or they never swam in their life before, like on a team, and they look to us for that kind of a guidance. And it's all over the world, but about half of our paying subscribers are in the United States.
Can you give us a sense of how large that market opportunity is and what that base of people looks like?
Yeah, so in the United States, about 30 million people swim for fitness of some level. Now, obviously, not all of those people are a target market because, if they're floating in the pool once every other week, that doesn't really count. So for us, it's about 9 million people who are actively pursuing some kind of a fitness goal at least once per week. So they're going to the pool 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times per week. And within that, we can get more like specific, but I mean, US market, we're looking at like 10 million people, and globally, it's about 5 to 10 times that. So swimming is really unique compared to other sports like, American football, for example, that, people don't do that, some of these other sports in other countries, but swimming is truly a global sport. And you see it at the Olympics because it's the most watched sport in the Summer Olympic Games.
Wow, really cool. Can you give us a sense of what the product looks like? So for someone who's never, gone and downloaded the app, what does it look like? How does it work? And how is it helping people achieve their goals, in the pool?
For sure. So if you're not familiar with the way a lot of people think, okay, swim workout. So I go to the pool and I swim. Like, what's the workout? It's actually similar to weightlifting in the sense that you break it up by doing different types of activities. So you're not just doing freestyle. You might be doing backstroke or kicking or pulling, working on a specific element of it. And you'll do it in sets and repetitions. So similar to if you do like bench press for 10 repetitions, you would do, freestyle for 10 lengths of the pool on a certain interval. So the app's layout basically has, workouts in sequential order that are personalized to you. So on day one, you know exactly what your routine is going to be. And if you have something like an Apple Watch, you can take that routine and sync it to the watch, and it'll have the workout routine on your watch. So it'll tell you, okay, you're going to do 8 lengths freestyle on this interval at this kind of a pace. So you'll go and do your 8 lengths freestyle, and when you're done, it'll tell you what the next thing you're going to do is, and it'll also have your real-time heart rate and other analytics that can help you improve. And then when you're done with the workout, you can see all those analytics on your phone, and there's a community in the feed that people can like and comment on the workouts and encourage you, and you have your profile and all the stats. Outside of the actual workout itself, there's also instructional video content. So swimming is really technical. It's not just go swim. There's a lot of elements to your technique that need to be refined. And we have a video library, kind of like Netflix, within the application as well.
Really cool. So in terms of, I think one of the most important things when trying to analyze a company is understanding what truly differentiates it from the market and from competitors. So I'd love to hear from you how MySwimPro is different from MyFitnessPal or the other swim apps that are out there. What makes you so unique and why you're finding so much more traction than some of these other companies in this space specifically?
Yeah, so I think in the fitness world, there's, like 40,000 apps. And a lot of them, of the 40,000, over 95% of them are for running, biking, weightlifting, nutrition, meditation, and yoga, right? So none of those are swimming, none of those are triathlon. So there's that big opportunity where there aren't actually that many players in the first place. So we do have the market leading advantage, like the first mover advantage. But when it comes to like defensibility, yeah, we have a great product experience. It adds a lot of value. We also have partnerships with a lot of like big players in the wearable, like so Casio, they make smartwatch. One of our partners that's exclusive with us for swimming. Strava is like the biggest social fitness platform for athletes, so we have a exclusive swimming partnership with them. So that is defensibility for why, you know, we have a great product, but also other swimming apps don't have those partnerships. And as we look, like we're the official training app for Canada Master Swimming. So, you know, we try and build more partnerships so that way we kind of build a wall between us and any other swimming platform.
Got it. And so in the past, you know, year or so, from my analysis, you guys have really just suddenly found that inflection point and really, I don't know if it's product market, I mean, it is product market fit, but suddenly you went from, you know, maybe a couple 100,000 users and then you're up over 700,000 downloads by the end of the year. So what was that occurred over the last year where you just kind of saw that zip up, and how does that kind of continue that trajectory?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think we have like this graph that shows our paying subscribers, and it looks like a hockey stick, which is good for us. And
right.
I think honestly, it wasn't like one specific thing. I think it's just a continuous iteration of the product. Like we're continuing to make it better. We increase the conversion rate. We're adding partners, you know, one after another. And so I don't think it was like one thing, but we're just continuously improving everything. And as a result, the compounding effect of that is what you see on our growth curve. And I think, I mean, I can't speak for the Dig company, but like, I'm sure as they add cities, like, you know, any business, if you just continuously improve, everything's going to kind of work in the right direction.
Makes a lot of sense. So yeah, now jumping back to you, Leigh, one of the things that I've heard from people who were kind of concerned about investing in Dig is this idea that there's so many dating apps as well. Same thing as, you know, the swimming app. So how do you kind of, you know, get out of that noise, and what's that differentiator? I mean, I know it's around the dogs, but what is it that's setting you apart and letting you get above the noise?
Sure. Great question. And we are super proud of what makes us different. And it is kind of obvious. It's the dogs. And that might sound silly, but dating apps are growing at such a high rate. There's this massive market to be able to reach many more people. 55% of single adults in the US are pet owners, with dogs leading the way. You know, we're constantly getting feedback that from people who already met on dating apps saying, I would have met on Dig if I hadn't tried this other one, and all these other things. But what really makes us different is the type of conversations you're having and the type of lifestyle you're looking for. And so, you know, you can consider Tinder as, you know, using that as a way to find a certain type of person, and all these other apps that are out there, but it's not one or the other. Like I said before, most people are using 3 or 4 dating apps at a time. They're trying to find the segment of people that they can connect with the most. And dogs bring out this understanding between each other. When dog people think about each other, they're thinking about trustworthiness, compassion, responsibility, more likely to be athletic, understanding body language. That's a big one that you might not have filled out in your match profile, but you recognize it in a dog person. And so taking that next step with people, you know, Refinery29 called us the most wholesome dating app out there. And so they're seeing us different. They're using us in a different way. And it's all built around that love and understanding of dogs and the type of home and lifestyle you want to have.
So what stops, you know, Bumble or another one of these dating apps from saying, let's just add a feature that says I'm a dog lover, and then it'll be the same thing? How do you kind of, what's your view on that?
So this will surprise you. They have that. And so why aren't you hearing that? And that's what we keep hearing from people, is that, you know, because we've created this community where you can immediately talk to other people about what matters most to you, it's not as strange as just being one of many other checks on a Bumble or a Match. We're really building that community around people, that this is the thing you care about the most when looking for the person you want to spend the rest of your life with. And then it's those additional features to get you off the app and actually planning a dog-friendly date. And, you know, all the marketing that we use is all featuring adoptable dogs. It's everything that's built into our brand and our community is what they're looking for in each other.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I guess it'd be hard to fake, you know, a dog lover community that truly care. Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. And in terms of, you know, growing your user base, so you're a little bit earlier than MySwimPro, but you're at 30,000 users, which I'm pretty sure from the last time I spoke with you, you were around 15,000. So that's pretty incredible, by the way. But, you know, you've talked about doing some partnership. I know you have the events, but there's also partnerships like with BarkBox. Can you tell us about those and how you plan to utilize that to kind of grow the business?
Yeah, the partnerships have been unbelievable. So there are companies across the country that are looking to connect with our dedicated and emotional dog lovers in different ways. You know, when you say that this person is looking for someone to spend the rest of their life with based on their love for dogs, dog companies are like, yes, we want access to those people. How can we be involved? But what's interesting is it's not just dog companies. You're seeing the hotel industry becoming more dog friendly. You're hopefully seeing the travel industry becoming more dog friendly in the future. You're seeing more restaurants being more dog friendly. So we are working with people like WeWork. I think where you're calling from right now again. But we partnered with them to be able to launch all of our events at their locations across the country because of their hashtag Dogs of WeWork campaign. And so because our whole brand is about dogs and love and identity, a lot of these big businesses have found different ways to connect with us. That's different promotions, that's sponsoring our events, that is giveaways for people who sign up for Dig, a million different ways. And we're able to work with all these different companies, and it only benefits our users in getting the word out.
Got it. Really cool. So now I have a question for both of you guys around how do you monetize your apps and how are you managing traction versus just trying to get paid?
Yeah, I'll go first. So we initially launched the application. It was free. So in 2015, it was super MVP. It was a free app. And then in about a year later, less than a year later, we added a monthly subscription for $10 a month. And we've since modified the amount that we charge in monthly versus yearly in different packs and everything.
Sure.
But we follow the standard unit economics of like a Netflix subscription media tech company. So it's, you know, it's not any different than those. The difference is how many paying users we have compared to Netflix. But in terms of like managing growth and what we're focusing on, I mean, our number one KPI is the number of paid subscribers. So that's actually more important to us than like total downloads or monthly active. It's the number of people that are continuously paying us. And because that at early stage, especially, and not having taken on so much funding, you know, we have to be very lean, capital efficient, and focus on what delivers the most value. And focusing on who pays you is kind of how you do that. So that's what we're focusing on right now.
Awesome. How about you, Leigh?
A little different. There's nothing more valuable to us than a success story. You know, someone being able to turn around and said, I met the love of my life on Dig, and I benefited and my dog benefited from it. That's pretty cool. And so until we start, we're basically where you were in 2015 in that we have a free app for our users. It's unlimited on both Dig and Android. Companies pay to be featured on the app. So we have a daily deal. We have paid content, different types of advertising throughout our website and our app. One of the main ways we bring in money right now is through our events. And so if I could break it down, we have 4 main revenue streams. 2 of them are active right now. We've got our events and sponsorships, and we have in-app and online advertising. In the future, when we hit 100,000 users, we'll offer those paid subscription tiers. It's very common for dating apps to have monthly subscription tiers that range from $2.99 a month all the way up to $15.99 a month. And then data packages on top of that, where those big dog companies find us to be the most valuable. And so right now we have money coming in on 2 of those revenue streams, and this raise will get us to the point where we will be able to implement those subscription tiers. Very cool.
So now I'd love to ask a few questions that the crowd has written in and had questions about over the past couple of weeks before we ran this. So one of the questions for you, Fares, that I got was, okay, you've gotten to nearly $1 million run rate, which is awesome. That's a really big feat. Typically a sign that you found that kind of product market fit and you're going in the right direction. But now how do you scale from 1 million to 10 million? Because in many ways that could be even harder. So what are your plans to kind of scale the business and 10x from where you are today?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think similar to what we were discussing about 5-10 minutes ago, like the inflection point, I don't think we hit like an inflection point necessarily so much as we have a really solid roadmap of things we know we need to do, whether it's product or business development partnerships and things like that.
Sure.
And as long as we stay on the track to hitting all of those, we should get to a 10 million ARR. Like for example, one of them is as simple as, internationalizing our platform. So right now we're only available in English. And I mentioned that the market's about 10x what it is in the US.
Yep.
So, just in the next couple months, we'll roll out on French, German, Italian, Spanish, and Portuguese. So with those 5 languages, we're going to increase our footprint significantly to be in the native language of a lot more people. So that will help us, multiply what we're already doing. In addition to adding more partnerships like the ones that I mentioned, just adding more of a global partner network. And finally, the one thing that we don't have right now that we're going to have in just a couple months is a new training app for triathlon. So this is completely separate from the MySwimPro product feature. And so, this is theoretically can double our company here in the next, 12 months. So that I'm really excited about because that's, we're not banking on anything for it for 2019, but we'll roll out for a 2020 triathlon season. And that's a market that the expenditure is just insane. Anyone who's done a triathlon knows how much money they spend on everything. So that's absurd. Yeah, so that's a really interesting spot we'll be in about a year, because then we can reflect back and see how much impact all the stuff I'm talking about will have. Sure. And so we'll see what happens.
Got it. For you, Leigh, how do you think competitors view you? Do they see you as a threat? Do they see you as a complement? Is it just an acquisition target? And how do you kind of think about that?
We talk with our competitors a lot. We've had conversations with some of the biggest players and the CEOs of some of the biggest players. First of all, one specific app said, can you imagine what it would look like if we tried to throw an event like you tried to throw an event? And if you can picture, for example, what a Tinder rave would be compared to a dating app, it's just a different community when you're picturing that community in person. Oh, here we go.
Oh, there he is.
Someone just spoke up. This is what you really meant to ask, right? Where's
exactly right.
But absolutely acquisition target. We see ourselves as a viable acquisition target for the dating app side, but especially in the pet tech world. And so when you talk about competitors, for us, we are much more valuable in terms of the data and what we could possibly learn and what we are learning about dogs and dog owners. And that information and that community is what's really, really exciting. How can we connect other pet people in different ways? We're constantly hearing, I'm already married, but I want to meet other married, couples who have dogs. How important it is to have a dog to make you feel calm, and whether it's connecting rescuers and people in need, those connections between dog people and pet people is where we see we could really take off. And so we are looking at the acquisition opportunity on this guy side, and
I love it,
and the dating app side as well.
Awesome. So last question for you guys here, and you could each take like a minute to kind of answer it, is, for anyone who's still kind of on the fringe, why is this a good investment worth making compared to others that you can make? Why should they invest in you?
Sure, I'll go first. Well, I think this is a really unique opportunity to get in on a deal. I think for both of us, because you can't do this later stages. So only when a company is at, the infancy incubation stage can you really get in on a deal. And so I think for us, it's probably even more rare, the fact that we're doing a second crowdfunding. You mentioned it, we're close to 1 million ARR. So most companies of our stage are not doing equity crowdfunding. Some are, but it's less likely to find a deal like ours that's less risky, I guess, because we're not going to we're making money. We're not going to go away anytime soon. So in that regard, it's de-risking it. But at the same time, I think outside of the investment, this is a cool opportunity to help transform people's lives. We have an incredible impact, whether it's helping people lose weight, doing their first triathlon. I mean, my co-founder lost 100 pounds using our application and meal plan, awesome. Right? So and that he's just one story of a ton, right? So I think both of our stories are attractive in that regard because you can help make an impact on people's lives that's pretty significant. So for that, I think you should check out our page, myswimpro.com, but we're also on Wefunder, wefunder.com/MySwimPro. Check it out.
Awesome. And Leigh, how about you?
Well, for Dig, you're helping people find love, and you're also in this incredible booming industry of pet technology. The reason you want to come in early with someone like us is that acquisitions are rampant. And so we are already talking to the biggest players in pet. We're talking to Nestle, Purina, and Mars Pet Care, all of these companies that are interested in us because of the community have and the data we have the opportunity to get. And so if you love dogs and you love, this massive opportunity, this is the time to come in and work with us at Dig.
Very cool. Well, thank you guys both so very much. To everyone who's listening, I definitely recommend these companies as really interesting investment opportunities. And hopefully this kind of helps solidify your thoughts around it. We'll follow up with some thoughts from the webinar. And yeah, thank you everyone for your time. Really appreciate it. I think it's been a great conversation.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, guys. Have a great day. Take care.
Bye.